Hello again everyone, Saka here, and today we've got a little bit of a one-off video in which I am landing a 747 at Osaka Airport in the sunrise here. I have real weather on, and this is the newest patch, so we have some actual variable wind speed, which is good to see. Up at about 30,000 feet, we had about a 45 to 50 knot tailwind, which really helped, and we are coming into Icoma there, and lining up for the approach, and as you can see, visibility isn't that great. We're lined up for ILS runway 32 left, and everything has been going swimmingly so far. Really enjoying the updates, and I recently upgraded graphics cards to a 1080 Ti. Figure we could get them on the cheap since everyone wants that 3080. Looking out the window, not much to see. Really low-hanging clouds, and that sunrise is reflecting all kinds of light, making it an orange haze. Not like San Francisco by any stretch of the imagination, but we are all alone up here, lined up, ready to go. And we are banking into our left turn now. Just getting a feel for the 747 in this new patch, and I'm happy to say that when I engaged the approach, it didn't try to send me back to my origin airport. So I don't know if I just got lucky this time around or they decided to fix that autopilot sort of glitch. In several aircraft, anytime I've activated an approach, it's tried to take me back to the previous waypoint, but this time it lined up ready to go. It activated the approach to 32 left, automatically plugged in the heading, or the ILS frequency. All I had to do was manually set 323 as our course, and we are about lined up on the localizer here. Icoma is directly out of the runway, and we are already at our intercept height, so that is all good indeed. But yeah, looking out there, we can see stuff to our left, not too great, and everything out in front of us is really hazy for sure. This is what ILS is made for. So we're at 3,500 feet, ready to intercept at Icoma. Once we get a little bit closer to Icoma, I will engage the localizer and the approach mode, and we should be lined up, ready to go. Getting ready to drop some flaps here. We want to slow down a bit and go to flaps 20 and maybe even flaps 25 here. We are cleared on the approach. Not cleared to land yet, but that will be here shortly once we intercept the localizer. And yeah, getting ready to intercept. Looking for that runway out there, and I don't see it, but it's about 18 miles out. Looking at the ILS FMC there on our flight display, it looks to be about 15.2 miles out. But here comes that pink line lining right up. As soon as we get closer to that, I'll go ahead and turn approach mode on, and we can see the localizer is captured, and we are holding altitude, just waiting for that glide slope to come in. And yeah, lining up nice and easy. Yeah, still looking good here. And Mido is where we are actually going to intercept at 3,500, so we should start descending there. A little bit of an airstrip there so we can get a little bit of an idea of how far out we can see. The answer is not too awful much here, but I like the reflections there on the aircraft. This game is incredible looking, that is for sure. All right, the diamond is coming down. Looks like the autopilot overshot the localizer just a bit, but we're only at 200 knots, so we'll be able to get right back on path. And as expected, Mido is where we should intercept the localizer. We're set to intercept the glide slope here. We'll go ahead and drop it down to 175-ish or so. And we'll get ready to drop to flaps 30. And all we have to do is drop the gear, and we will be configured to land. We'll go ahead and lower down to 170. Reference speed looks to be about 145-ish. Usually I found about 160 to 165 is a good weight. Okay, so we've passed through the diamond. It did not intercept the glide slope, so it's holding altitude mode instead of grabbing the glide slope. Alright, so we can try to lower our altitude a bit to get caught up on that. If worse comes to worse, we're going to have to manually fly this in. Let's do vertical speed down several, maybe 1,000 feet per minute almost, until we can get down. Yeah, we're about 10 miles out and we cannot intercept that localizer, so we may have to manually fly this thing in. No worries. At least we're lined up as far as our heading is concerned. Altitude will be easy to acquire. We're not too far off. We could see the diamond sort of hovering right there in the first block, but yeah, it's probably a lost cause here. I'm just going to disengage the autopilot here and fly it in by hand. And we can finally see the lights of the runway out in front, and we are on 3-2 left, so we're on the longer of the two runways. So it'll be pretty easy to spot. And there we go. Now we're getting close. We're within our radio altimeter there, 2,300 feet above, pretty much on sea level it looks like, and flying over the city of Osaka here. We've got that river there right below us that we're going to pass over. I've actually been to Osaka once before. Interesting city indeed. You definitely have the feeling of southern Japan. That is for sure in the around Kyoto. After spending a week in Tokyo and then heading to Osaka, you have a little bit of a culture shock.
Osaka 1 Heavy cleared to land runway, tree 2 left. Wind tree 59 or at 7.
All right. So 7 knots, not too awful bad at a crosswind. We have a little bit of a crosswind, but not too awful bad. Glad to see that we're not going to be blown too off course here. Still holding those diamonds really well. We've got our PAPI lights out there to the left of the runway. We'll be able to proceed on through minimums for sure. I believe minimums at this airfield is 550 feet, something like that. So we can definitely acquire the runway well before that. A little high now. Looks like the approach takes us right over these buildings, and that would be pretty incredible to be working in like one of these offices and have a 747 fly over your head. Yeah, we're a little high here. Let's get lined back up on the runway as best we can and modulate that speed. I'm still running auto throttle, so it's doing its best to hold 165. Once we get closer to the ground, I'll disengage the auto throttle here and bring her down. All right, auto throttle off. We're still a little bit high, and it looks pretty intimidating. It's like if we drop any more, we're gonna smack into these buildings. Drop that speed right down. Really picturesque approach here with the mountains in the background. Got that highway right below us here. Still a little bit high, but better to be high than low. We'll just give it a little squeeze of throttle here. There's our middle marker. Oh, green flash. It looks like someone with a laser pointer out there trying to blind us. But here's 3-2 left.
50, 40, 30, 20.
Floated a bit,
10.
but we'll be able to touch her right down. All right, reverser's out, and we're able to hold that center line very well. Very nice indeed. Nice and smooth landing. I kind of wish it gave me a report, sort of like those landing challenges that tell you how fast you descended.
Osaka 1 Heavy exit runway, with able.
All right, so we've got the exit runway. Auto brakes have kicked on, and now they are disengaged, so we can exit the runway here and get our gate. It almost looks like it's clearing up as the sun is rising, all these mountains in the background, but here we go. We'll be clear of the runway here, and we can get our gate. We'll let our co-pilot handle that communication.
121.7 Osaka 1 Heavy.
All right, now that we're clear of the runway, we'll go ahead and put on our parking brake, turn on our APU, so we can turn off our engines once we pull into the gate. Let's see where they want us here.
Ground Osaka 1 Heavy taxi to the gate.
Osaka 1 Heavy taxi to gate 7 via taxiway Charlie cross runway 14 left Charlie Alpha Bravo.
All right, we can do that. 14 left, 32 right intersection here.
Taxiing to gate 7 using taxiway, Charlie cross runway, 14 left, Charlie Alpha Bravo. Osaka
And thanks to
1
the assist, we can see where we're going pretty much straight ahead. It doesn't look like Osaka Airport here has been rendered. Either that or the gate that we're going to isn't rendered. We can sort of see an aircraft there, that Airbus out in front of us. It's a shame we're not going to one of those gates, but nice. Is that downtown Osaka back there off of our nose? Pretty cool indeed. There's two airports really close together. Kansai is like on an island. It kind of reminds me of Meigs Field up in Chicago. But we decided to go to Romeo, Juliet, Oscar, Oscar today. And we'll be able to pull in and shut this thing down. We'll go ahead and sit up in our seat just a little bit. Yeah, so we have a little bit of pre-generated buildings here. And some ground traffic. Yeah, it kind of looks like a little airport. Perhaps a 747 wouldn't be pulling in here, but, you know, that never stopped anyone before. Yeah, it's like that jetway is coming out of that little itty-bitty building to our left. Kind of interesting to see. But yeah, really enjoyed this flight for sure. I liked the landing. It was much better than the last landing. And that's going to be close enough for government work right there. As the sun rises on Osaka, we'll go ahead and get APU power on, flip off our fuel, and engines are off. So I hope you liked that little brief flight and landing. Like, share, and subscribe if you are so bold. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.